welcome to your darling station, The Living TV. Today, it's your favorite program, as usual, Nigeria Today. In Nigeria Today, we are going to look at sundry issues and topics, and I'm sure that will interest you. Don't go away. Sit tight, especially we have a grounded analyst who will help in looking into most of these topics today. All right, our topics today: the Nigerian Labour Congress frowns at Tinubu'S inaugural pronouncement. Tinubu did not remove subsidy, Festus Kabayamo says. APC ruined this nation, and we must not allow a worse situation again. Governor Lex Oti directs the immediate freezing of all accounts of the state. The APC NEC National Executive Committee isolates Wike and renders him inconsequential. Atiku and PDP challenge INEC's declaration of Tinubu with 118 experts. These and many more you'll be listening to today. In the studio with me is no other person but Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a historian. Not just a historian, he is also a televangelist. This is a political affairs analyst and a public affairs analyst. He deals with numbers and debts. I'm sure you will enjoy today's edition. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's such a great honor. Good afternoon, our viewers.
All right, today, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, on Tuesday, expressed displeasure over the announcement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the subsidy is gone without consulting relevant stakeholders and putting in place adequate measures to cushion the effect on Nigerians. The NLC President, Comrade Joe Ajaero, noted with regret that a few hours after the pronouncement, some marketers shut down their filling stations and there was a price hike immediately. Ajaero described the action as insensitive. He said it has brought tears and sorrows to millions of Nigerians instead of the renewed hope this administration promised. You saw what happened immediately after Tinubu's announcement on air, since day before yesterday until now. Even I was surprised yesterday. I am part of it. I will say I'm a victim because I bought a liter of fuel at 600 naira, and the ANC is frowning at this.
Yeah, I think all these things take us back to 2012, 2011 to 2012, and the attempt by the Jonathan-led administration to remove subsidy, as advised by Ambassador Gonjo, who said subsidy claims being tendered by some independent marketers amounted to nothing more than scam and then crime, that they would give an overquotation of the actual figure they supplied, and that to plug such leakage, that there was even need to remove subsidy and then use the money to build infrastructure and involve in social intervention and then economic recovery programs. There was Shopee, Subsidy Reinvestment Program Fund, which was used in procuring mass transit vehicles, then shared among some persons, and on monthly basis, those are actually considered to be vulnerable or at risk, and those seem to be unable to absorb the pressure that came with the subsidy removal itself. But a group of persons, you understand, that will let them move into political party, led the protest. In fact, they organized mass protests on the streets of Lagos. They involved intellectuals, they involved many people, the media. They attacked that administration. Today, Bola Tinubu is removing subsidy. In fact, not even that he's removing subsidy. Buhari tried to remove subsidy after he said subsidy did not even exist, that it was a scam. He tried to remove subsidy, and in its place he introduced what he called under recovery payment. Under recovery payment simply meant that the marketers will no longer be in the chain of supply as they were, you understand, except when they get waiver from the NNPC. Now that one also flopped. Didn't succeed. There were back and forth here and there. Today we hear that subsidy has been removed. Tomorrow we hear it's not being removed. They now started calling it deregulation. Which is still the same thing. But unfortunately, we are still where we are. That in the last 25 years, we spent $25 billion US servicing and doing turnaround maintenance on refineries that will not give us a drop of fuel. Moribund refineries. But it took $18 billion and 10 years for Dangote to build the largest single train refinery, the 650,000 barrels per day refinery. We are waiting to come on stream or to get activated. But where are we? We are where we are today, that APC, and that's, to me, I wouldn't know how to describe this. Now, see what actually happened. In the Appropriation Act of 2023, that's the budget, Buhari did not include subsidy. Because last December, in the last quarter of last year, just last December 2022, the federal government claimed to have spent 4.4 trillion naira on subsidy alone. On subsidy, because if we say subsidy, we have to educate our listening public. You understand? Yes, subsidy simply means the amount the federal government pays for the cost of importation and then freight and then other things that cover the product landing here. Now, this is the product God has given us freely or free of charge. But due to the fact that our 4 refineries, 4 of them can actually give us 450,000 barrels per day. Unfortunately, none of them is working. Now we ship these products outside the shores of this country, where they are refined in either Brazil, God knows where, and they are shipped back to us. In fact, Belgium, Netherlands, and some other countries. We now have to import our own products. You understand? And when we import the land, you pay for landing costs, you pay for jetty fare, thorough fare, and the rest, even the master charge, many things you pay for. So those things, if they are to be allowed to reflect on the price, the average Nigerian may not be able to purchase. So the federal government undertakes to pay some of these things and then subsidize. So this is what we are saying. If we move this money, these trillions of naira, we will do other things. But now see, Buhari was actually living. He did not even, in fact, he removed subsidy from the Appropriation Act of 2023, and it was not even contemplated in the Petroleum Industry Act he signed into law. So it means that Tinubu has actually met a tough time, and it requires social intervention and other packages like we saw under the term of to be carried out. But due to the fact that Buhari borrowed and then even exceeded his limit, it was no longer such or it was no longer much tenable for the National Assembly to allow him borrow $800 million he was looking to use to create intervention programs. And given that some of the monies borrowed under his watch, we can't even explain or account how they were used. So I think in fact it's a very difficult one for us. The APC has done this without considering the plight of the common Nigerian, and without even thinking what impact it will have on the informal sectors, especially in places where people power their generator sets to produce. I'm talking about people who manufacture things like these small and medium industries. So they are the ones whose businesses may go under EPS not taking, because as we speak today, there are no intervention policies, and as bad as it may be, those marketers, immediately the announcement were made, they started selling subsidized products at the rate of the price would have been in a zero subsidy regime, and it's massive money to demand. So like the labor is saying, it's not just insensitivity on their part, it is also profiteering at the expense of Nigerian populace.
Oh yeah, let's just look at this announcement from what they said, and then every other reasonable Nigerian would have also think towards that line. Without consulting the stakeholders.
Yeah.
You have the National Assembly and so on. And that pronouncement, don't you think it was very hasty?
Yes, thank you so much for that for that addition. You said we have the National Assembly. People think the work of this 9th Assembly is done. No. Until June 13th.
Yes.
Understand? The same way the handlers of the president and his cabinet members said the president had right to borrow until the last hour of his administration, is also the same way the National Assembly had right to sit and then legislate on matters until their last hour. I think, yes, there was no much consultation. It's not something you just come out of the blue to announce, because there will be no difference between this and the one because Ogonji Wala and the Jonathan tried to do. the reason adduced for such organized mass protest was that the government took the citizenry unaware when on the 1st of January 2012 subsidy was actually removed, and the people were stuck in their villages, in their communities. Now we are talking about an administration that made such announcement on the first day. In fact, before the first day,
yes,
it would even be in office. You understand now?
Yeah, exactly.
Just at the inaugural address should have been something to inspire hope, like I
yes,
see. Try to inspire hope, like he did. Try to inspire until that announcement, until that portion. I think he should have actually met with the relevant stakeholders, labor unions, because they are the ones to coordinate transport unions, mind you. Now meet with even National Assembly, say there is no provision for subsidy in 2023 budget, and the implication is that the federal government said if you have to cater for subsidy, it will go up 6.4 trillion naira. We don't have such funds. Okay, we say fine. We don't want to throw the part of profligacy. We don't want to spend again. We want to be financially disciplined. But every stakeholder must be aware, and this is something I think, given the federal government itself, given the fact that Dangote refinery was coming on stream by June, July, would have done it in phases, not remove it entirely by going or by transitioning us to zero subsidy regime. What they should have done is to say we are removing 30% or 40%, and there will be a timeline, you understand, for the program to be ramped up. But unfortunately, nobody is saying keep subsidy or keep subsidizing. Yes. It is the West, you understand? It's the West that must be blocked. But you know, we are looking at the implication at a time when family finances and household finances are shrinking, and then purchasing power is declining. So it is already much to be. And now you ask yourself, such a thing should have been corresponded, or such a thing should have been followed with increase in salary of workers. You understand? Where are the welfare packages? No welfare. So that is why it will bite, it will hit hard. And then I will always say that there must be dialogue to it. But the problem is this: we are a democracy, and we must work with our laws. The law for finance and then expenditure of 2023 does not contemplate subsidy, even though the deficit in the budget was about up to 12.1 trillion naira. The deficit in 2023 budget is about 10 to 12 trillion naira. So you need to ask yourself, how do we show that this, and how do we go about it now?
All right. The Labour Party National Publicity Secretary said Tinubu'S inaugural speech exposed the shallowness and policy incongruity he wants to give to Nigerians. And then the Labour Party had said, Nigerians, we are aghast with the boldness and glee with which Tinubu declared his election as fair. We consider this audacity as a slap on the faces of millions of Nigerians who voted their conscience but were robbed by a collective power of state institutions and brute brigandry unleashed on them. According to the Labour Party, APC wind the nation, and we must not allow a worse situation again. We must not allow this situation to continue. And then that is Labour Party for you. Do you see this as just a mere political party statement or a fact, considering what we're experiencing now?
Even Tinubu's statement said he welcomed people going to court. In that same statement,
yes, he said so.
Where he said the election was fair. You know, I said we've never had an election where the winner came out to say the election was not fair, except Omar Musaira, God rest him. The only person who came out to say the election that brought him to office.
But even the elect chairman accepted the fact that this election was was flawed.
He didn't use the word flawed. He said glitches and hitches. Now go to INEC prayers, supplication and petition in courts. You will see that INEC is even an unregistered extension of APC.
Yes.
The prayers INEC made, the plea INEC entered, saying that PDP and the Labour Party, including other political parties, were in no better position to have won the election, all things being equal. So that is even internal contradiction on its own part. But what I'm saying is that he has right to express his opinion. The Labour Party has right to say we don't accept this, and that is why they are in the court, and we are not here to preempt the court. But the fact remains that I have said here before that this thing started from Buhari's farewell address, which I say was nothing but a piece of self-congratulatory message. Yes, because Buhari spent time, in fact, from paragraph 18, he spent time praising himself, how he was able to weather the storm, lead us through pandemic and what have you, including leaving Nigeria better than he met it. So Tinubu is now continuing. Now, even in I think in paragraph 11 or 13 of Buhari's farewell address, he also congratulated Bola Ahmed Tinubu and declared him the best. And that was why he was elected. So Tinubu is also standing or riding on the crest of that praise, you understand? To also assert that the election was actually free and fair. But the question would have been, if Tinubu had lost in the election, wouldn't he have gone to court? So in Nigeria, politicians don't lose with the spirit of athletes, athletic spirit. In fact, they are not better losers. They are always bitter losers. But then that's why I actually said again, it's only the courts that will actually establish, and then the last of the common man, as they are called, the judiciary, they are on this matter, and we await.
All right. Tinubu did not remove subsidy. The chief spokesperson for the APC campaign, Festus Keyamo, said so. And according to him, the media is mischievously twisting the narrative that Tinubu's administration only inherited a regime where there was no provision for subsidy in the 2023 Appropriation Act, beginning June 2023, and the Petroleum Industry Act, which is now extant, has no provision for subsidy. Well, what he's saying is that Tinubu is not the architect of this removal of
yes,
this
yes,
subsidy.
I said it. You see,
but the manner.
Yes. When he announced it,
Yes.
Was there any difference between the way I said, Jonathan subsidy
removal?
Yes, was also announced on the first day of the rule. Now, this administration announced its own removal of subsidy even before it went to office. You understand? Even before it sat for the first time.
Yes. Functioning as president
in office. I want to say this, you see, APC. This was actually done by the APC, a government that actually promised to build 4 refineries. We shouldn't be here if we had managed our resources, our lean resources, prudently, and channeled resources to meaningful areas and sectors that will do what, that will create the buffers and then help the economy to stabilize. What we did was to spend billions doing turnaround maintenance that had no sense, that made no sense at the end of the day. So for that reason, we don't even have one single refinery working. Even at that, the NNPC itself is not even clear on the amount of petrol, or let me say the amount of PMS Nigerians consume daily. The other day it quoted 60 million. Customs said no, from our own papers it is 90 million liters per day. But that's aside. You see, what you have to understand is that Tinubu, just like other candidates on the ballot during this campaign, the last campaign, they all promised to remove subsidy. It depends on how you want to remove it. But I have always cautioned and advised for what? For phased and then programmed removal of the subsidy fund. Yes, because there are people you need to carry along. There are the vulnerable groups, economically vulnerable persons, you understand, whose businesses depend on ability, yes, to even power their own genset, because you have inconsistent power supply. Now, what I had expected is this to be phased, to be programmed, but it was just coming out of the blues, you understand. Now, the implication is that President Buhari before willfully did this, and Tinubu is here now to execute it. But we should be looking at also the timing and how it is to be done. Nobody is saying keep subsidy. Nobody is saying continue wasting money in the name of subsidy. But they are saying, in the interest of those whose purchasing power is declining, whose finances are shrinking, we have to be inclusive. Economic inclusion should be the goal. And then even Peter Obi, all of them agree that subsidy will go, but it depends on how. So what can happen now is that, yes, the budget, we can't work outside the framework of the budget. But what Tinubu should have done, to me, since the budget will start by June, is to first seek a consultative platform that allows him to have dialogue, to have conversation, to even explain, so that people in the sector will understand. I was reading the NNPC release and I was laughing. I said, well, NNPC will always be for the government. The most important thing is, how do we carry out? Because we just came out from cashless policy that that produce, according to some facts, that produce 2 million hungry persons again, in addition to 133 million multidimensionally poor persons. You understand? Now, in the intervening years or in the intervening periods, we will stay before we get our act right under Tinubu. How many businesses must have gone under? How many households must have gone starving? How many lives may have been lost too? So that's the thing we ought to have done. But it's unfortunate. Nobody's saying keep subsidizing. No. The money we are paying is small. We are saying do it gradually. It should be gradual.
All right. Yeah, that's exactly what everybody said. Nobody's against subsidy removal because it has not helped in ameliorating the sufferings of the masses over the years. What we are saying is that mind yourself could serve as an advice, but it can as well attract Islam. It all depends on the intonation.
Yes.
All right. Having said this, we are going to go on a very short break. When we come back, Nigeria Today continues. Don't go away. Keep watching Living TV. Watching your favorite television. We're back. Remember, it's still Nigeria Today, where we'll bring you current affairs as it is in our country and our various states today. Moving ahead, we've talked about the oil subsidy, the Nigerian Labour Congress feelings and statements. All right, away from that, Governor Alex Oti of Abia State has directed the immediate freezing of all accounts of the state of all accounts of the state and those of its agencies domiciled in every bank and financial institutions across the state and around the federation. He has also dissolved all boards of Abia government agencies and parastatals and ordered the heads of all the dissolved agencies and parastatals to subsequently hand over to those next in line. That is the newly sworn-in governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti. All right, comrade, not that. He also made some new appointments. We'll talk about that later. But for now, you remember before now, even when he was still governor-elect, you remember that the Abia State account was frozen for some time until it was vacated after a while. But right now he has done that again. What do you think is the implication of this?
I think it's not the first case I'm reading about this. It's also happening in Benue State. I wouldn't know why the governor would say, because the issue is that there is an order of post-no debit. You understand? Post-no debit. Nobody can withdraw from this account.
Yes.
I do not know the essence of doing that. Maybe the governor wants to actually, we do not know what the governor saw on the handover notes or the briefs given to him by the predecessor. So maybe he wants to also know, you understand? Because I can't balance him, but I'm aware that the reason why you have Auditor General and Accountant J at the state level or at the sub-national level is for these kind of things. Do you understand? This bookkeeping and then account balancing and what have you. And it's not even hard, it shouldn't be hard to sit down. But what I think is that maybe the government is wanting to know exactly the amount within the state coffers or the treasury of the state, and then know where he's going from there, because there are briefs and there are notes handed over to him. He's not the only person to have done that, and then that said again, he has yet to receive any revenue from the federal government. So all things being equal, perhaps he's now in charge. It's no longer a case of the governor-elect or those working for him trying to freeze the state account. Mind you, we are not talking about one account here. But where I may have an interrogation to make is the dissolution of the boards.
Oh, yes.
Were the boards wrongly constituted by the outgoing governor, or were they persons close to the governor, or were they his relatives, or what? Are they not civil servants who are, or let me say, public officials who are still working for the state and living the government? And then the next important question is, this dissolution, does it also amount to proceeding on leave or compulsory leave and then from there to vacate? Because I don't understand. These are the things we have to also interrogate, because I have talked about the need for Abia to get it right more than it has done ever before now. You understand? So we should be looking at it from the perspective of saying, is it that he wants to create a new regime which may not be bad entirely if the law permits? Then two, or to say, since people have worked under this administration, give me a breakdown analysis of what you have done in the last 4 years, or in the last 8 years, or in the last couple of years you've been there. You understand? Let me know so that I can work with new persons. So there are different ways to look at it. So, but then whatever it is, I hope and I want to believe that respect to due process is actually yes adhered to. You understand? Because you don't just relieve someone or have them proceed on forced resignation or whatever by virtue of having worked for an administration that actually preceded your own. I want to believe that everything is done with view to achieving transparency, yes, inclusion, accountability, openness, and done in the interest of Abia.
Yes, because talking about the dissolution of the parastatals and all the government agencies, I don't know how, just like you rightly pointed out, if these are government, if these are civil servants whose times are not due for retirement, and so on.
Yes.
So why they hand over? Are they proceeding on leave to come back, or does it mean that they are entirely sacked?
Yes, I would have loved if we had maybe council. Yes. So those who actually talk about it from the perspective here, from the because we do not know what the wrong thing we have about states is that their laws are left in secrecy. Abia State, every state, Imo State, they pass laws, but those laws are not even public. They are not meant to be. They are not. The public is not fed with those laws. So we do not know the powers, which is very wrong. We do not know the powers the state governor has. You understand? To dissolve this. We are not talking about cabinets.
No.
We are talking about appointment, because in civil service we talk about hierarchy. In civil service we talk about hierarchy. We are not saying dissolution of the cabinet,
yes,
or dissolution of.
We know that all the commissioners are actually going out with
they are going out. The cabinet has been dissolved when the last time they will have their executive council, state executive council meeting, they will dissolve the cabinet. But what we are talking about now is, in this very instance, are we not doing this thing, then undermining due process? And that's why I use the word due process advisedly. You understand? I use it because whatever is done must be done in accordance with the law. But since I am not aware, I'm not privy to what the law says concerning this matter, then I will rest my case.
All right. We believe that Alex Jomoti is an intelligent person.
Yes.
And then let's believe that he knows what he's doing.
Yes, and he's just coming on board. He doesn't need to get things actually messy.
All right. Talking about freezing the account of the state, is it possible that after that 29th of May, any former government functionaries, either the governor or any member of the cabinet, will want to have access to the state account? Is it possible?
Any cabinet or any former, yes, there are people who are signatory to this account.
Okay.
Mind you, there are people who are signatory to this account who were also appointees. The Commissioner for Finance, many people there. You have Auditor General, you have Accountant General, you have many people who may have one way or the other, they can access the account. That is also why this has to be done in some certain aspects. You understand? And again, I do not know the procedure for appointing people to head parastatals, because in Niger State, I'm sorry to say it, it's not just about it's not just about TDOG, it's not about all the Kano. But since 1999, appointments have been clannish, including those who will become the vice chancellors of Aberdeen University and then the rec. It had followed that if you are from this particular part, or if you are from Bendo, or from Mumba, or from Ohongo, or from where, the VC must come from your place. So the question we should be asking is, such appointment, does it also follow due process? Because I'm aware that there are instances where somebody has been made the VC of Aberdeen University when some other person was qualified to be that VC. You understand?
Even in the time of the senator, distinguished senator T.O.G.,
yeah,
all the tertiary institutions in Abia State were all headed by
people who were coming from yes,
7 years.
Similar thing nearly happened.
Abia State University was headed by Professor Chibuzo.
Yes.
Abia State Polytechnics was by Elder Onoko.
Yeah.
College of College of Education,
yes,
Technical, was headed by Dr. Ojuku.
Yeah.
And the College of Health, Abaye, was headed by Dr. Belegu.
Yes.
So all the tertiary institutions.
Yes.
And is that also due process?
It's not due process. And the same thing played and panned out nearly under Okezie too. In
fairness, Okezie was far better when it comes to that.
I'm not saying he was better or not better, but I'm saying he nearly told the same time. I use the word nearly.
Nearly, okay.
Yeah. So,
because that of Aruchuku is an Aruchuku man.
Yes, we are establishing a fact here, and the thing is this: let's call a spade a spade. They do this thing because they want to work with people they feel can take orders from them. People who can be reliable, people who can be loyal, people they know in most cases. So and then in the course of doing this, we now jettison hierarchy. We now jettison merit.
Yeah.
But I think what he talked about merit in his inaugural address, he talked about merit. The 45 paragraph inaugural address I read, which I also saw some part of it on set. He mentioned merit, and he also talked about people coming to rub minds together, that the government is not his own alone. You understand? Even though he dwelled on what he called past 24 years of creeping and flying locusts. So maybe the fear of the locust infestation is now informing this decision.
Whatever action is taken. All right, the phone lines are open. Remember, our line is 0916828494. I'll take it again. You can call us, give us your name, where you're calling us from, then your contribution or question based on the topics you're treating here today. The line is 0916828494. 94. You can call us. Away from that, the governor also, Dr. Alex Oti, appoints the SSG Chief of Staff and others. Professor Kenneth Carlo is the Secretary to the State Government. And then Pastor Caleb Ajaba, PhD, is the Chief of Staff to the Governor. And Dr. Ngozi Okonkwo is the Special Advisor, Healthcare Delivery Services. And then Ferdinand Ekoma, Special Advisor on Media and Publicity. Then Mr. Kazie Uko is Chief Press Secretary to the Governor. Then Mrs. Njum Onyemelam is the Accountant General for the state. And Mr. Obonia Okereke, Head, Special Task Force on Emergency Cleanup of Abia and Omaya. Well, I think at this number 7 to 1, I think though this thing he said it takes off immediately.
Yeah.
It's with immediate effect.
Yes, it takes effect.
I think that of the Mr. Okereke should commence. I don't know if you have taken your time to pass through the new build express.
Yes.
That is not even completed and see the amount of death there.
Yes, mountain range like rubbish.
Even number one as a road here.
Yes,
so
but I'm going to tell you something. You see, I was among the team that developed paperwork for what we expect of this administration. Not even because there was a call, and I was also reached out to. One of the demands we made, and the governor-elect, and the governor now, had actually looked into it, is environment. We said there is every need to declare emergency on environment in United States. I'm sorry to say it. When OKZ became governor, the first 100 days of OKZ, he nearly recovered that. And we were happy. But unfortunately, whatever happened, along the line, he lost track and vision of the whole thing. And I'm saying it, and it's my personal opinion. 100 days in office, there was no death anywhere. We were clapping, we were happy. Along the line, he lost track. Does it mean he was not questioning his subjects? Does it mean he was not actually interrogating why some of these things happened? Now, we said in Abia State, especially in Aba is now congested. We heard OKZ talk about economic city, the Aba mega city. And we said, good, fine. This could bring about overlap of development. Why is it that Aba has not been able to merge or to overlap and meet ordinarily Ekakbara? Then go towards Osisioma and the rest of them.
Like
Lagos State. Yes, like Lagos State. You see, people say Shagamu. They don't even know that Shagamu is not Lagos. It's Ogun State. People say Ota. They don't even know that Ota is.
Even in Abuja.
Some of the even in Abuja. If you are coming in the satellite area, Lugbe, people don't even know.
That is a Nasarawa.
Yes, Lugbe. Even a place like Abaji and the rest of them.
Yeah.
These but then it's unfortunate that Aba, a glorious city, has not been this great city. I don't joke with this city.
And what will it take to even make Aba get
great.
to Umweka here?
Get to Umweka. You understand? That's overlap of development. They make people shift. Now you see that what is happening here now is structural collapse. Aba is collapsing. Where you are not supposed to build 2-story ordinarily, 2-story building, you are now having 5-story buildings. And there is population implosion in the Aba city centers. You understand? That we now have, and that is why you cannot manage waste, because a lot of households are involved. You understand? So it became a problem. But I think this, you see, if OT must reclaim or must recover Aba and then Omaya, as he's saying now, it's not going to be an easy ride. It's going to be a difficult, arduous, long journey. But we are wishing him well in this journey. But the most important thing is to start working, not to. Because I remember, I can tell you the promises made by Otis Okano, made by Theodore Ahambe Fuloji, made by OKZ Bazu. And now we are still seeing his promises, either in manifesto or in the inaugural address. The most important thing is to convince of attention. The appointments he has made so far, they are fine. I'm not against them. It is also good we hear new names, new persons get on board. But the most important thing is that he should also look at the area of inclusion, including the youth in his appointment, including women. Because the 7th assembly, the current assembly in the United States, there is no female legislator there. And I'm not sure the 8th assembly, when formally inaugurated and constituted, will also have a female member. So there is every need to create that balance in the appointments he makes going forward. You understand? Even including persons with disability in his appointment. And I must say something about OKC person, which I want to see sustainability, because we cannot judge. Yes, we know that under him the budget performance went down. Unemployment was 50.07%. 5 million Abians are poor. But now see, OKC also signed into law what is known as Disability Prohibition Act. To include this person, 5% of job opportunities should go to them, and they should have the commission. These are the things I'm looking at. Okay, reforms, development. Now, to also look at the area of digitization, computer. What can we do with St. Michael's? What can we do? Because we are now in the fourth industrial realm. Africa is left out. The jobs we are talking about now is now digital. You understand? Then away from that, you understand? There is also a law. In fact, there is a ministry. Created Ministry of Internal Affairs. Homeland Affairs. But unfortunately, that ministry was not, to the best of my knowledge, equipped the way it ought to be equipped. I'm talking about insecurity in Abia State now. In Abia, this blessed land, how many sons, how many souls have died through insecurity, court-related activities, and the rest of them? Over 5 or so, just in 1 week. So I think if this ministry is empowered, you understand, to do the work it has to do, provide and fish intelligence and supply police, we will be getting it better. There are the pros and cons, the good sides and the bad sides of and then government is a continuum. Alessandro should not just jettison everything about it. Then look at the good sides and see where you can continue. And
all right.
Then, if there are the bad sides, discontinue with them.
All right, Timothy Asadolo, a member of the National Executive Committee of the PDP, says the immediate past governor, Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, is no longer a member of the party, given his conduct before, during, and after the 2023 general elections. Asadolo noted that the leadership of the party had decided to isolate Wike and render him inconsequential in the face of the People's Democratic Party.
This is very funny.
Tinubu has taken over. Yes.
Too little, too late. It makes no sense.
Yeah, because he has done all he's supposed to do.
Exactly. Wike has achieved his ambition. He said his ambition was to make sure Atiku does not win in Rivers State. Even when, if you had seen the Premium Times report, independent report, investigative work of journalism, they said Peter Obi won in some. In fact, Peter Obi may have won Rivers State. If all
not
is
may, but not
that he said,
yes.
He won Rivers State.
They said it, yes.
Now, another account said at the time they were busy in Ogoni. In Obiagbo. In Obiagbo. A result came from the Port Harcourt City Center that he wishes to work and then he's not that kind of person. Wike is now looking for an appointment that will keep him politically busy and politically relevant until the next 4 years when he will decide the next path to take. You understand? He's worked for Tinubu. Mind you, he's invited Tinubu after the election, and as we've heard fillers, we've seen fillers, even rumors from the grapevine that he is actually cutting Tinubu to see if he will be either ambassadorial appointment, ministerial appointment, or what have you. And you see that the person who is supposed to be leading APC in Rivers State, yes, former governor Roto Timiamechi, is now withdrawing.
Yes, seriously.
Are you seeing that permutation?
He was
in Abia State.
Yes,
while there was inauguration, while there were inaugurations both at federal level and at his state level and at the state level, Rivers State. You understand? He was not there. Then he was even more indebted, or he was even supposed to be in the Tinubu. You see that even when Tinubu came to Rivers State to campaign, he wasn't there. It was this same Wike that welcomed Tinubu and that gave him all the facilities and that said, go and campaign anywhere you want to. We see that now APC is having problem and may be acquired or taken over by the PDP section of Wike. What I can't say now, the this faction, including the governor, similar Efubara, will do the same path. In which case we may have, for the first time in the history of this country, the oil-rich River State and the economic boss states of Lagos being under the same party. You understand? It will also affect PDP itself, you understand?
Yeah.
But I do not know. But then I think Wike's activity were anti-party. And we talked about it here.
Yeah,
that Wike began all these problems. We established this party here before the election and during and then after the elections. That PDP has a constitution that says zone. And that in the PDP, when it comes to zoning, all the South, except Southeast, all the South and Southwest have had a shot at the presidency and even the vice presidency. That the only South remaining now is the Southeast. We started talking about microzoning. Wike said no, it should be about character, competence, and whatever you are. You understand? Now, that was what actually led Atiku to joining the race, because Atiku said, okay, I can't be here and you take it, because he understood the game. The North skimmed him out. The person he supported, Governor Tambuwa, betrayed him at the PDP convention. We all saw that. So he came back now and started fomenting trouble, formed his G5. They entered into a lot of things, street dancing and jamboree and party playing and whatever. At the end of the day, he succeeded at making sure that Atiku did not win in his state. You understand? So to what extent, why will PDP wait this long?
And all these guys who joined him there, they are now left behind.
They are left behind, including some of the members of the
Abia State.
Yes, yes. They are nowhere. They are nowhere. So I think it should be a lesson because one man was pursuing his interest, whether he was leading or misleading others.
Yes.
But he was just after his interest. Now, okay, we will give it to him. He's somebody who wants to identify with the Igbo cause. May not really associate with Tinubu. But then the question is, who was advising him on that course of action?
Wike was his master.
Why would he? They are co-equal
governors.
Yes, they are co-equal. They are co-equal governors as elected in their different states.
Yes.
No matter the size of the revenues, but you are governor of your state. I'm a governor in my state. So it's unfortunate.
Yes, actually, I think even the national chairman, I'm not sure they acted fast.
Yeah.
Because even Wike and the then governor,
Wike should have been suspended
long ago.
You understand? No matter they were afraid of Wike, but it doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, the same thing they were still fearing happened. All
right, before we call it a day today, Atiku and the PDP have approached the tribunal to challenge INEC's declaration of Tinubu with 118 exhibits, presented before the 5-member panel of the Presidential Election Petition Court in his case against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The two key points in the exhibits: one is that the president was not duly elected by the majority of lawful votes cast at the election. They also alleged that the president was, at the time of the election, not qualified to contest. In the exhibit as well, it included certified copies of the results of the presidential election from the 36 states of the Federation and FCT, and printouts of data obtained from the beavers, records of the number of permanent voters' cards used for the election across the nation. With what they have around, it looks as if this matter is going to be a little tough.
Yes, and that's why Evidence Act says he who asserts must prove. What we are dealing with now in this whole tribunal, and then cases pending before the court, has to be evidential. In fact, it's evidential. It has to be proved as evidence. You must establish it. It must be established rather. And if you look at the prayers and petition of Peter Obi, he said, INEC willfully, deliberately, systematically denied access to some of the information they sought from the commission, for which reason the court gave an express order to INEC to allow them, like here now, to access some of these things, including the beavers. That is why we are seeing this case. You understand? Now, we had an election. The outgone president said was the most evenly contested election. For the 3 presidential aspirants, where Tinubu himself, who he won, now see, did not even win with up to 10% of registered voters. Do you know what that means? 94 million voters were registered. 94 million voters were registered. How many million votes did Tinubu get? Something less than 8 million or so. Peter Obi, 6.1 million. Article 6.7 million. Then the voters who came out to participate, 27% of the registered voters came out to participate. You understand? And the Tinubu could not even win 40% of the votes cast. It has never happened before since 1999 that the person declared president never won up to 50% of the votes cast. You understand? I'm talking about the highest number. I'm not talking about the requirement. Maybe they are still having issue with the FCT because of the constitutional provision. Then which I'm not going to try to come here, say and the FCT. That's section 134 of the constitution. It is the court that will interpret. But then it should be a lesson to us that when subsequently we are enacting laws, we are having dialogue as a nation, we should be more technical. You understand? And more more purposeful in how we count words. But I love this that this is happening now. I myself and I believe everybody have seen the way through which Beavers was bypassed. That what were announced as results in some places, manually announced as results, did not reflect with what the Beavers is saying. So it is better they tender this before the court, and who knows, hear from the court. Maybe there could be a wrong. It is not yet. No, Tinubu is not yet home and dry. Yes. Though people still give it to him because he's the president. I have said here, the president of this country has 70% chance of winning election before the election starts. I said he appoints the INEC chairman. He will appoint the state resident electoral commissioners. All the states. He will appoint the security heads, the service chiefs. He will appoint all of them who are going to provide security for the purpose of election, and who will form what they call ISES with INEC, Interagency Consultative Election Security Committee. They will form that ISES and be the ones to provide security. The president is the commander-in-chief, mind you. Then the president also appoints the chief justice of the federation, who will constitute the tribunal. You understand what I'm saying now? So to me,
this 5-man pattern.
Exactly, and then
you have the Yorubas
and the others.
No single person from the
southeast. And then again, Buhari has actually said to the president that the executive can sack the head of the judiciary, the co-equal arm of government. So who knows? And then it has happened. I have always said it here. The report of EU on 2019 election, it reveals something to be said. For Buhari to win that election, he had to remove Walter Onogen, Justice Walter Onogen. And who is Justice Walter Onogen? An appointment made by Vice President Tinubu'S in 2018 when President Muhammadu Buhari was outside the shore of this country for over 100 days. Buhari came back. The first thing he did was to refuse those appointments, including the appointments made to replace Daura at the BSS. Now, Matthew Seifa, Dr. PhD, eminently qualified as called by the press, was also removed because these are key positions that will determine the fate of election in this country. You understand? So, people are now saying that Tinubu, who knows how to use power, even more than Buhari, is now a kind of affairs. So it will be difficult to actually have the courts rule. But nobody should actually preempt or say such a thing, because we have overwhelming evidences as the parties claim. You understand? They have places they claim they have won, and the INEC, you understand, announced a different thing entirely. And there are also new emergent areas in our electioneering. For example, the FCT clause is now, someone said the world standing trial now is and the FCT. He said must win 25% votes cast into that majority of the 36 states. And the FCT.
So many laws are
yes.
They are now saying that FCT should be the 37th state of the federation. It should not be special, you know, comparing with other states. There's
and then unfortunately Tinubu didn't win up to 25% votes.
He didn't.
Yeah. He didn't. So it's something that the court will actually
Now, as a sitting, finally, before we go for the day, as a sitting president, do you think it will be easy? Do you think he cannot influence the court? We are not preempting the court or anything, but do you think, with what is happening in Nigeria, with the Nigerian system of things, do you think it will be easy for anybody to upturn whatever that has been done in terms of this swearing that has just been concluded?
You see, when Baba Ahmed Dati was asked the same question, he said he doesn't believe. I'm talking about CNN. He said he doesn't believe. He doesn't have confidence in the courts to do this. Understand? But now the issue is that we have a law that played into the hands of these political gladiators and actors, and I'll tell you what. The law said 21 days to after announcement of results. You have 21 days to build your case and file. From 21 days, the law is that you have more than 80 days to conclude. And more than 80 days is about 6 months. Are you following me? Yeah. Whereas in the last elections in Kenya, they just completed election in Kenya, it was less than 21 days that the court concluded everything. The same time you have alone to file your matter in Nigeria was the same number. In fact, less than that period, the court had actually ruled and concluded the matter. Less than a month. If we have a justice system, that is why we always talk about Uwe's committee report. The committee said election petitions and all outstanding matters must, in fact, shall be concluded before swearing in. Yes. Number one. Number two, that the powers of appointment vested in the president must be reviewed and then given to the judiciary or any neutral body. You understand? And made and then said INEC must not come to court to defend. INEC should come to court as witness to be interrogated. You understand? Because INEC also witnessed the election. It's conducted. Now we go to, you see, the electoral law, electoral act's position is that you can sue INEC, you can sue the candidate, you can sue the party, and those are the respondents. Both PDP and APDP are actually sued. Now the meaning is that INEC will come to defend this election.
All right, one commentator.
So the president has powers.
All right, one commentator said that we should have hope and faith with the judiciary because of what happened in the Court of Appeal during the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. If these 3 judges could openly come up, and one of them is retired, who is very bold
and said he has no regret.
He has no regret for what happened, even if he was dismissed. That he's not regretting it. So that means there are still some lawyers, some judges who of conscience then there is no need losing hope that the right thing must be done. There must be justice at the end of the day. All right, before we finally go, let's have your final take before we let's have your take finally.
My final take is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should address the nation in line with this subsidy of thing. He must not be removed from us like the way Buhari, who came before him did. We need dialogue. He must address the nation and tell us why we had to make this difficult choice at this time, you understand? And why the APC removed this from the budget, and why he will have to make such announcements in his inaugural address. We're supposed to more or less inspire hope and confidence, which I said he was actually doing until such announcement. So he has to address the nation and make sure that in addressing, because if you look at it now, you see we now have different price templates for different states. Lagos State is 488. Abia State is, I think, 525 naira or 515 naira. Different states now have different prices. In places like Sokoto is almost 440. In some places 430 something naira.
You mean fear?
Fear.
Enugu sold 700 this one.
No, I'm talking about the modulated, the price, the pump price they have fixed now.
Because of the regulation.
Because of but then unfortunately, that is not what the marketers are looking at. They will tell you that they need money to also buy in the volume they used to buy. So if I bought a subsidized product, 5 million liters, let me say 5 million liters, and I'm to sell, and suddenly the price fluctuates or increases. If I sell at the normal rate, will I be able to also buy? You understand? And these are, and I'm thinking there has to be much done within the supply chain to make sure that people say because we will still end up buying for 1,800 naira at the end of the day.
Right. We remember that this administration, even before the swearing in, even after the president-elect was elected and announced and declared by INEC, there was this hope, new hope, that was this administration.
Hope renewed.
Yes, promised Nigerians. And that's exactly what every other person is sitting back to expect. It was quite unfortunate to have made that announcement immediately. That, according to the Labour Congress, millions of Nigerians are crying. But that's a very, very sorrowful for what is happening. And then, these things was done without considering the pay package of both the civil servants and even
whether they can be able to transport themselves to work.
Like in about now, keke of 150 naira is about 200
naira now, yes.
And these things, that is what makes government
even
very sensitive.
Too.
Any government that is not sensitive to the plights of the people is not worth the name government. So, just like Comrade suggested in this platform, Mr. President will have to revisit that statement and the subsidy removal. On this, and we are coming to the end of today's program. Comrade Nnamdi Elekwachi, we say thank you for being part of today's program.
Thank you so much. It's always my pleasure to be here. Thank you and goodbye, our viewers.
And this is your command, Chinedu Adjele. Keep it with us. More wonderful details and current affairs. Remember, Friday is another wonderful day. But even before then, there are subsequent programs of the Living Television so interesting that will be coming your way. Keep watching Living TV. Bye.